it can be for some who really, I think, are dealing with an existential crisis.
That was the voice of visual artist D.M. Whitman, whose exhibit Ecologies of Restoration is featured at the Danforth. They used salt to visualize the idea of healing, restoration, and resiliency. Their goal is to inspire hope in their audience in the face of the climate crisis. Last Thursday, DM spoke alongside other panelists at an event titled Pathways to Action: Climate Conversations at the Local Level.
I came across this word called solastalgia, which to me was a new word, but it hit on the very thing that I was experiencing. Now, we have other language for it: eco-distress, eco-grief, eco-anxiety. This idea of something being missed and being lost, gone.
The idea of the exhibition and the panel really resonated with me around climate grief and anxiety, and I think a lot of parents are feeling that sense of grief for the things that are already changing about our communities, that our kids are going to have a very different world than we grew up enjoying.
So how has climate change taken effect in Framingham specifically? For one, it's hotter, and that can worsen depending on what part of the city you're in. A large proportion of southern Framingham is a heat island, meaning its lack of reflective surfaces and vegetation make it prone to even higher temperatures. According to the Metro West Climate Equity Project, housing units in southern Framingham experience, on average, land surface temperatures 25 to 50% higher than the regional air temperature for that day. The percent increase is much smaller for northern Framingham. And according to the EPA, the heat island effect increases energy costs, air pollution levels, and heat-related illnesses and mortality. But climate change isn't simply just a rise in temperature. Framingham has also seen historically high flooding. The Metro West Climate Equity Project says a warmer atmosphere can hold more moisture. So as atmospheric circulation patterns change, the region can expect more extreme storms, resulting in more frequent and severe flooding. The path from Bowditch Field to Fuller Middle School is an example of climate change taking effect in real time. What used to be a pleasant shortcut just 20 years ago is now overgrown, unusable, and often underwater. The nearby residents have also felt the effects, experiencing frequent flooding on their property.
We're in a time where a lot of people might be discouraged, but everyone can do something, and we can do it right here.
In fact, there are some notable projects happening right here in Framingham. That previously mentioned path between Bowditch and Fuller is situated in an important wetland system. According to the EPA, wetlands function as natural sponges that trap and slowly release surface water, rain, snowmelt, groundwater, and floodwaters. Trees, root mats, and other wetland vegetation also slow the speed of floodwaters and distribute them more slowly over the floodplain. The current path prevents water from flowing in and out of the area. So to fix this, the city has removed the pathway and restored the surrounding streams. In its place, a new accessible, elevated boardwalk will be built. Water will be able to move under it more freely, which will be critical to minimizing flooding during heavy rain. Another important environmental tool is trees. According to the EPA, trees and vegetation lower surface and air temperatures by providing shade and cooling through evapotranspiration, which cools the air by using the heat from it to evaporate water. Last spring, the city planted 28 public shade trees along Grant Street and the vicinity as part of the Massachusetts DCR Urban Forestry Grant.
So the Grant Street area is in the CDBG low income and environmental justice neighborhoods in Framingham. So the trees, not only are they aesthetically pleasing, but they will provide shade and hopefully reduced energy costs for some of those residents.
The city also just relaunched the Setback Tree Planting Program. Public shade trees will be planted within 20 feet of the right-of-way to increase chances of survivability. The program was launched as a pilot in eligible CDBG low-income and environmental justice areas, with the goal to expand it citywide. These are just a couple of the citywide efforts to minimize the impacts of climate change. But you may be wondering what efforts you can make in your day-to-day life.
I stay hopeful really by doing things. It's the only way. If I couldn't take action of some sort, I would feel very discouraged. But I know there are things I can do.
The use of native plants in landscapes is really a very forward-thinking and a very courageous act, because you're valuing the support that it offers for what remains. And I want to make sure that is very loud and clear as a message that this is a very positive, hopeful act. and that oftentimes when we consider the enormity and the complexity of climate change, and we can agree that two things can be true at once, that there are individual choices that you can make that are positive, as well as the need for society-wide changes in the way that we approach consumerism and our consumption.
And if you don't have access to garden space, community gardens are a great alternative. Additionally, eating less meat, shopping locally and sustainably, taking advantage of renewable energy options, and traveling by bike or public transportation when you can are all meaningful ways individuals can contribute. However, according to Amy, the most important is to talk to people.
All of us could talk more about climate change. There doesn't have to be politics around this. It's just what you're seeing and what you can do, and a lot of people need more information.
Being involved with in communities like this, in spaces like this, in discussions like this, I think is so important. Just getting more and more people talking about this issue and finding out that they're not alone, that there's a lot of work to be done and that we can do it together. So I found the event really inspiring.